Good morning, class. My name is Alexandro Vasquez, and today we're going to be discussing chapter 14. So, the chapter starts off talking about torture. It says, can we utilize it to save hundreds of lives or decide it's inhumane? In 2006, Congress passed a bill that made torture illegal because we live in America, right? And we're not going to torture people. So, President Bush signed it, but not without also issuing a signing statement which basically says, as the New York State law professor put it, I will only comply to this law when I want to, and I have the authority to do so, and nothing can stop me. And that's not the only one. After researching an investigation, 700 other signing statements by the Bush administration were found. I actually found this really neat article by Charlie Savage. It's on www.boston.com. I have it here for you. In this article, I combed through it, and it said that, basically what I said, it said that with every article that Congress has passed, the Bush administration would also do a signing statement saying, I will abide this law and I will enforce it, but if, I retain the power to not abide by it if this happens, or, and honestly, my personal opinion is, how do you expect Americans to follow the law, to be law-abiding citizens if you're over here predestining loopholes if something does happen? That doesn't inspire much confidence, in my opinion. It just feels like a loophole you're trying to set up. I understand that you're gonna, as the president of the United States, you're gonna do what you want to do to protect the country, and to ensure safety. But I just think it's really, I just believe that, 700 times, that doesn't inspire much trust. So, in the American system, the Constitution, there is checks and balances. Not only separation of powers, but also policy guidance. Congress has a lot of play into administration. Before I decided to take any political science courses or anything, when I fresh out of high school, I guess, I believed that the president was the top man. He was the main player. He was the one, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it this way, and let's do it. But after educating myself and, especially reading this chapter, I come to find out that Congress enforces laws. Congress is the one that we're gonna do this and that's it, and the president just kind of like, he executes them. He executes accordingly, but Congress has a lot of power, and Congress is the main player, I believe. So, let's talk a little about oversight. The book definition is the review of the behavior of individuals within organizations themselves by those with authority over them. In other words, a lot of things that Congress does is being combed through and dissected. Oversight. Control of administration, if you will. There's a lot of speculation that government members rather look ahead to the future. They're trying to plan for a better future than trying to investigate what happened in the past and why was it done correctly. And they rather plan ahead. Okay, it happened, and let's do this. So there's a lot of speculation that oversight, it's kind of like flawed. According to the book, oversight isn't the most common thing. It's likely to be initiated in a time of crisis, but oversight has a lot of purposes. Assurance that administration follows the intent of Congress, investigation of instances of fraud, waste, and abuse, collection of information, evaluation of program effectiveness, protection of congressional prerogatives, personal advocacy, and reversal of unpopular actions. Okay, so legislative review is broken down into 3 parts. We're going to go over them real quick. It's going to be authorizing committees, which initiate review and report bills and solutions. with a particular subject, doesn't matter areas. Each one of them handles stuff within their jurisdiction. Okay, next we're gonna go to Appropriations Committee. People in this committees, they know their stuff. They know everything about everything. And they're the people that you go for information, agencies, and programs. And then we fall into the other committees, like the Senate Committee of Homeland Security and of Government Affairs. Because there's so many committees that are intertwined and that cross paths, Congress rarely takes conclusive action on any issue, as the Senate Arms Committee reported. I believe that the real problem is that, like I said, I mean, I understand the whole redundancy thing. I really do understand it. But I believe that we have all these committees and all these programs that cross paths and intertwine, and I just feel like everyone's real like clustered. Like I feel like everyone's here and they're trying to go, fix something, but I believe that it's too congested. I think it would be a better solution. Well, I don't think it would be a better solution, but I think it would be better if you had a good amount of people trying to fix the problem, but not so many. You don't want it to be clustered and everyone, trying to do the same thing. You want there to be space. You want to be able to move around freely, and I think that's why a lot of things don't get resolved. But that's my opinion. For oversight to function, outside force information is crucial. There's a lot of barriers that come into play: secrecy, executive privilege, and administrative confidentiality. General Accountability Office. It's said to be one of the most valuable oversight support agencies. They examine performance of government programs. The GAO, as the book refers to them, have vague powers. It's like a case-by-case thing where they can fully access their influence. The GOP, which served as a 15-year term, that's the second longest term actually. The 15-year is first as to the dog of the treasury, because they regulate budgets and anything that exceeds the amount that had declared the DTO would declare an amount. Like, let's say this agency is only going to spend $1 million, and let's say I spent more than $1 billion. As for the accountability for what I spend, I have to put up the difference. So the GPO became very crucial because they enforced the budget back then. So it was really important for you to be closely. It was important for you to have a good communication sense with them. Most people actually went to them and like, hey, can you give me your prediction? Can you give me your estimate of how much it's going to be so I can work within that budget? So that was back then. In the beginning, now the GPO has transitioned from not so much focusing on the expenditure, but on the performance. They identify high-risk programs which potentially they can do something like waste, fraud, or abuse. Okay. So when I think of the GPO, I think of, like I said, they refer to them as a watchdog, but I can't get out of my head thinking of like an eagle eye. They absolutely have they're scoping on everything. They're seeing the performance. I think it keeps them on check. It keeps Congress and it keeps the agencies under Congress on check. Hey, let me do this correctly because I have these people, I have this person, zoomed in on me. Let me go by it. Let me do it justice. Let me do it right. So I feel that it's a good program. I like it. I think that it reminds me of that movie Eagle Eye. I'm looking at everything. I'm here. Don't try to be slick because I'll find out. So it's kind of neat. Okay, so government performance and results tax requires all federal agencies to basically lay down a map. How are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? What do we expect? And how much time are we going to achieve it? It has forced agencies to be more attentive to their goals, to the goals they're setting, and how that they are going to produce results. You know, and I think that's really important too. Like there needs to be some sort of plan how are we going to do so. There needs to be goals. You know, like we're here, we want to be here, and we're going to do this to get from here to here. We're going to do this, and it's going to take us this amount of time, and let's get to it. Let's try to meet that goal. I think it's really interesting. So as I mentioned before, I mentioned the General Accountability Office. So I found this really neat website, which the Government Performance Act, I'm sorry, I misread. The Government Performance Act result requires all federal agencies to basically lay down a map. So I found this really neat website. It's the www.whitehouse.gov, and it just explains more into detail. It breaks it down for you, and I think it's really important to understand why they implement it and how they're using it. I think it's important to check this website out. I checked it out, and I just, I saw them break it down into the different processes that, like how they need to map it out, how they need to enforce it, and I think it'll be really beneficial for you to check it out. So thank you for listening to me. This has been chapter 14. I hope to see you next week. Have a great day.